Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 12th of July. The first important news, that is GST Council finalized the tax on online gaming firm. This was a long pending decision that was there from the GST Council. Finally, the GST Council meeting has confirmed the rate. Second, that is legal row between the farmer and PepsiCo. This is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Third, that is Supreme Court invalidates the extension of ED director, that is Enforcement Directorate, right? So Mr. Mishra, that is SK Mishra, Sanjay Kumar Mishra is the current chair for ED. He's holding the post of director. The Supreme Court has invalidated the part of extensions given by the union government. So important point to note, and this is relevant for your mains examination also. Second, that is Supreme Court response on delimitations in Arunachal Pradesh. And the last is an editorial taking a digital next step. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And before I begin this session, if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. So the first news of the day, that is GST Council finalized the tax on online gaming firms. This was the 50th GST Council meeting, and finally the rate has confirmed by the Council. Important for General Studies Paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So the Goods and Services Tax Council during its 50th meeting, this is again important, sometimes they can ask you the number of the meeting and which particular meeting that decision was taken. So you need to be relevant on that part. So the meeting has decided that there will be 28% of indirect taxes on the turnover of the online gaming. This is what the GST Council has actually confirmed, and this is for the online gaming companies. The rate of interest will be, the tax that will be there, indirect tax will be 28%. A point to be noted. Now the GST Council has earlier formed a panel जो कि इस issues को लेकर के discussion की बात की गई थी. There was a panel that was formed and they were looking into the issues like casinos, horse racing and online gaming. So they initially have called for a uniform taxation in the part, and there was a differences on 18% and 20%. तो uniformity करके 28% की बात की गई. Now it is not previously been able to decide. जो मैंने आपको कहा पिछली बार की मीटिंग्स में 28% जो रिकमेंडेशंस आई थी उसकी यूनिफॉर्मिटी नहीं होने की वजह से कमीशंस ने कुछ डिसाइड नहीं किया, राइट. करेंटली द ऑनलाइन बेटिंग गैम्बलिंग अट्रैक्ट्स 28% ऑफ जीएसटी irrespective of its game of skill or chance. Now the online game attract 18% levy on the gross gaming revenue, that is GGR. There's also discussion on the GST Appellate Tribunal. This is again an important, powerful body that is definitely needed when it comes to the grievances in the part of the GST. So the Appellate Tribunal are to be formed in phases. This is what the government has noted. And the GST Appellate Tribunal in its first phase will be mostly set up in the capital cities of the state where high court benches are functional. तो ये ध्यान में रखी जाएगी कि अगर कोई भी डिस्प्यूट हो जीएसटी काउंसिल को लेकर के, वे ऑफ अपील विल डेफिनेटली लाई विद द हाई कोर्ट आल्सो. The GST Appellate Tribunal would be starting functioning from this fiscal year only, and GST Appellate in general is relevant for your prelims examination और mains point of view से भी आप इन सारे points को जरूर देखिए. Now items to be exempted from the GST rate, and during this meeting, this was the 50th GST Council meeting, which has decided that certain items will be exempted, which include the part of cancer fighting drugs, medicines for rare disease, from the tax levies, right. बहुत सारे ऐसे disease हैं, muscular atrophy like a disease. So these diseases will be exempted from any tax. Now GST on satellite launch providers by the private operators has also been exempted to ensure that India's space sector are working without any hassle, right. तो इन दोनों sectors को exemption categories में रखी गई. Some rate has been revised. So in the part of the fish soluble paste or LD slacks की बात करें, this has revised from 18% to 15%, has been lowered. and the rate has been brought down on 4 items, जिनमें include a fish soluble paste LD slacks, that is from 18 to 5. I think this is the repeated one. You can ignore the first one. Now the tax food on the beverages has been on cinema has been reduced to 5. If you visit any multiplex in the part, तो वहाँ पे rates actually vary करती है 8% and even to larger extent they charge 12%. तो उसको flat करके 5% करती है. The cess has been increased on the current part, that is 20 to 22% for the MUVs, जो multi-utility vehicles हैं उनकी cess बढ़ा दी गई है, and even for the length and the engine criteria, some part has also been changed. Now, moving to the other news, legal row between the farmers and the PepsiCo, something important for general studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, design and implementations. So recently, the Delhi High Court has actually held that there was no merit on the petitions that was filed by the PepsiCo over the patent rights of its unique potato variety. So PepsiCo ने basically appeal किया Delhi High Court में about their patents right, and outrightly basically High Court has rejected. So the appeal was against an order that was passed by the Protections of Plant Varieties and Farmer Right Authorities and revoking the PepsiCo registrations via his unique potato variety developed by it. See, they have claimed that the variety of potato that is developed, that is 2027, I'll tell you the numbers also. So that is unique to them. Now, what exactly was the part and what is the case? So the Protection of Plant Varieties Farmer Right Authority, which is also known as PPVFRA, उन्होंने जो PepsiCo की registration है उसको revoke करने की बात की थी with respect to the potato variety, and this variant of potato is FL2027. So the name and the variant is important, which is mostly used in the Lay's chips. Lay's is a product, as a brand, which is owned by PepsiCo, right? So on the ground, it has said that section 34, जहाँ पे protection of plant varieties of farmers rights की बात की गई है, उसकी violations करते हुए इसे outrightly cancel किया. Now, FL2027 is a chipping potato variety which has a low external deficit and high dry matter, the solid content, जो stable sugars होती है इसमें, and with all, it is highly suitable for the manufacturing of chips. So for making chips, there's certain variety of potatoes which is used. You cannot use the common potatoes in general, right? So there's certain hybrid, cross-hybrid varieties of potato that is specifically cultivated on the part, और इसकी production specifically chips making industries के लिए की जाती है. Now about PPV and FR Act, what is this act all about? So the act provides for effective framework to conserve and encourage the development of variety of the plant variety which is there. It established an effective system to safeguard and recognize the right of breeders, researchers, and even farmers to promote the agriculture development in the country. तो कुछ rights ऐसे बनाए गए हैं जहाँ पे जो producers हैं, when the farmers, their rights should be protected, their product should have a safeguard by the government legal backing, right? Additionally, it also facilitates the mushrooming of Indian seed industries to ensure the availability of high quality seeds and planting to farmers only. Now, criteria for revocations की अगर बात करें, कौन से ऐसे criteria mention की गई हैं, अगर ये चीजें होती हैं तो उनके जो लाइसेंस है उनको रिवोक किया जा सकता है, कैंसिल किया जा सकता है. So this is mentioned in the Article 34 of the PVFRA Act, which is protection granted to the breeders may be revoked by the authority on the following ground. Very, very important. आपको ये sections याद होने चाहिए. No, this can be relevant for your examination, and specifically if you're preparing for mains examination, you can write all these things. तो कौन से ऐसे ग्राउंड्स हैं जहाँ पे रिवोकेशन हो सकती है? फर्स्ट, इफ द ग्रांट ऑफ लाइसेंस ऑफ सर्टिफिकेट इज बेस्ड ऑन इनकरेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन. अगर आपने किसी तरह की इनकरेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन दी है, यू राइट इन द पार्ट ऑफ द रजिस्ट्रेशन विल बी लायबल टू कैंसिल. इफ द रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट वॉज ग्रांटेड इज इनएलिजिबल पर्सन, अगर किसी इनएलिजिबल पर्सन को दे दी गई है, then it will be cancelled. If the breeder does not provide the register to the required document, then it will be cancelled. And if the individual failed to provide alternative denominations of the variety registration, in that case also it will not be allowed. Failure of the breeder to provide required seeds and compulsory licensing is liable to have a revocations, and failure to comply with the act, rules, regulations and directions issued by the authorities. Now, why did the court reject the appeal? See, if you understand the part, the court is definitely looking for the betterment and even for the part of justice to the farmers. तो इन रिलेशन टू आर्टिकल 34A और इवन ये मेंशन है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इसके प्रोविजंस में that PepsiCo has sought the registration of FL207 as a new variant, right? Instead of an extant variant, right? So basically new variant तो उसे नहीं कह सकते because they have been using it. So applications दी गई on the commercialization from the part December 17, 2009 से इसे use कर रहे हैं. However, registration as a new variant, the additional requirement novelty in addition to the distinctiveness, uniformity and stability must be satisfied 1 year before filing the applications, जो कि पूरी तरह से नलिफाई होती है पेप्सिको के कंटेक्स्ट में. These are the criteria which is not fulfilled. Now the court said that FL 2027 could not be fulfill the criteria of novelty as it was only eligible for the registrant under the extant variety. Now what next for the PepsiCo? Definitely government will be also defending on the part of the farmers. So India is an agriculture based economy. अगर बात करें sectors की highest workforce के contributions है nearly 152 millions of the part, and multinational food processing companies and investors must prioritize the well-being to farmer first, because ultimately our farmer, their interest, their livelihood options, their security of money should be provided, right? By providing comprehensive understanding of India's local laws, particularly the PPV FR 201, and safeguarding the part of protection that is provided to the farmers. And moving to the other news, that is Supreme Court invalidates the extension of ED director, something important for general studies paper 2, that is structure, organization, functions of executive and judiciary. Very important topic. I mean, this can be also important for the case study, specifically for general studies paper 4, where there can be a direct question in case study. A classical example can be used. So what the Supreme Court has said, they have struck down 1 year extension that was given to the ED director, right? 1 year की extensions दी गई थी enforcement director के जो director हैं उनको, Mr. S.K. Mishra. Now the part, the extensions जो दी गई है उसको Supreme Court ने invalidate कहा है, and even they have asked the director to demit the office by July 31st. Very, very important decision where Supreme Court has taken the cognizance and they have actively and proactively asked the government that they should not provide any further extension. So this is it's a long debated topic, and even enforcement director की अगर बात करें misuse की काफ़ी ज़्यादा बातें भी न्यूज़ में रही. So this become important for mains examination. Make sure you are thorough with the points. Now Supreme Court ने May में अपनी judgment को reserve किया था when it comes to the part of extensions. And this was a third extension that was given to the Director of Enforcement Directorate, which has been first appointed in November 2018. Further 2 year की extensions और फिर terms बार बार बढ़ाई जा रही है, despite the fact कि Supreme Court के इसमें rulings हैं. Now earlier extensions की अगर बात करें for the Director of Enforcement Directorate, that is ED, ये extensions हुई थी November 2022 में. तो उस टाइम पे कोर्ट ने इस टर्म को भी एक्सटेंड को एक बेसिकली लेजिटिमेट तरीके से इनवैलिड किया था, बट ऑन द सर्टेन ग्राउंड इट हैज सेड दैट वी विल अलाउ दिस एक्सटेंशन. व्हाई द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज अलाउड दिस एक्सटेंशन? बिकॉज उस टाइम पे फाइनेंशियल एक्शन टास्क फोर्स के कुछ ऐसे केसेस थे जहाँ पे इस डायरेक्टर की कंटिन्यू रहना मैंडेटरी थे फॉर द पार्ट ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशंस, right? So this is what the central government has said, and even in light of that, the part of the central government has promulgated an ordinance जहाँ पे उस जजमेंट जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पहले जजमेंट दी थी विदाउट एक्सटेंशंस को लेकर के उसको नलिफाई करते हुए ऑर्डिनेंस लाया, एंड इवन दे हैव come up with the extensions of the ED director, right? Because they have said कि financial action task force की कुछ cases pending है, for that we need the director to continue. Now next Supreme Court की क्या directives रही इस चीज को देखते हुए, in the latest judgment the 3-bench judge of the Supreme Court has said that there was a liberty to amend the Central Vigilance Commissions which allow extraordinary extensions to appoint the tenure. While the legislature is competent to legislate on certain issue, it cannot annul the order issued by the Supreme Court, right? तो कोई भी ऐसी order जो Supreme Court ने दी है उसको ordinance के through भी बार बार repeatedly, which is the interest of the nation, should not be brought in. The apex court has held that 2021 order was not clear with a further extension that would be guaranteed, and even called for the extension for the director of ED. CBI और ED tenure की अगर बात करें as per the constitution and anywhere for the part that is mentioned, ED और basically CBI की जो director की positions हैं that is fixed for 2 years, and the amendment has introduced that for the part that the central vigilance commissions द दिल्ली पुलिस एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एक्ट जो कि सीबीआई को गाइड करती है, और ईडी जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं जो सीवीसी के रूल्स हैं उनके थ्रू काम करती है. So they have said that the fundamental rules and allow the part of 3 annual extension. If that is done, you cannot proceed further. Now need for committee recommendations, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस टाइम पे भी कहा था कि कमेटी के recommendations की जरूरत होगी. 2021 में एक बाकायदे कमेटी बनाई गई, and they have said that there would be require of a high level committee that would look into the matter and finally their approval is mandatory. तो 5-member panel की बात की गई थी for the extension with the director positions of the Center Vigilance Commission. अगर CVC के कमिश्नर्स हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हैं, और ईडी के डायरेक्टर्स, उनकी अगर एक्सटेंशन दी जा रही है तो 5-member कमेटी के रिकमेंडेशंस मैंडेटरी होंगे, राइट. सो दिस वाज द 5-member कमेटी. Now the same was that interested with the part of initial appointment for ED and CBI director, no reason was struck for advising government with the extension, and the court has reasoned. Now the court further said that 2021 में जो अमेंडमेंट की गई थी पार्लियामेंट की तरफ से वो कहीं ना कहीं वायलेशंस करती है बाय द रूल ऑफ द सुप्रीम. Now, Supreme Court से related एक और news है that seeks to respond the part of delimitations in Arunachal Pradesh. Delimitation as a concept, as a point is important for examinations. This is important for General Studies paper 2. Structure, organization, functions and executive and judiciaries. Recently, Supreme Court ने prima facie कुछ चीज़ों पर disagree करते हुए कहा है और जो legal stand लेते हुए कहा है that elections commissions ने basically जो delimitations की बातें कही हैं, that should only begin with that, and delimitation process in Manipur, Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh only after getting the authorization from the center, right? See, as we know, the situation in Manipur is not good, right? And even अगर northeast की बात करें तो delimitation has been exercised, which is basically done by the delimitations commissions in consultation and close coordination with the election commissions. The apex court has noted that it does not appear that election commission require the authorization from the government of India. अगर उसकी wisdom से ये लगता है कि करने की जरूरत है तो वो consult करके election commissions और delimitation commission इकट्ठे काम कर सकती है. Unlike that, the election commissions has not been the part of the delimitations commissions, and they have conducted the delimitation exercise for the past 4 states. So northeastern states में भी delimitations की गई थी, Assam and other parts were also there, some of the states. But now at this point of time, the Supreme Court has categorically noted that do you require any kind of permissions from the center or not, or you can proceed further in coordinations with the delimitation commissions. Now section 8A of the Representation of the People Act, I'll tell you 8A and 8.2 what does it says. So Supreme Court ने prima facie इस चीज को read करते हुए कहा that the provisions deals with the delimitations for the Lok Sabha assembly constituencies in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur and Nagaland, right? And 8A के हिसाब से ये कहते हैं that it should being satisfied by the conditions where the conducive is that the precedent descent from the deferment of delimitation exercise for 4 states and provided the conduct of delimitation commissions by the election commissions, right? तो ये rule 8A1 में है. 8.2 में it provide for the election commission which has to start the delimitations process with a determinant of the parliament and assembly constitutions in 4 states as soon as president rescind the order. तो प्रेसिडेंट के ऑर्डर्स के बाद ये डायरेक्टली प्रोसीड कर सकते हैं विदाउट एनी रिक्वायरमेंट फ्रॉम द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट अप्रूवल्स. Now moving to the editorial of the day, that is taking digital the next step, something important for general studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, that is the part of India's digital roadmap and initiatives. बात करेंगे इंडिया की डिजिटल स्टेट ऑफ इकोनॉमी के रिपोर्ट्स के बारे में, क्या क्या चीज़ें डिटेल्स है, डिजिटल लिटरेसी की क्या इनिशिएटिव्स है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, एंड द रोड मैप. एंड दिस इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट. इस तरह के टॉपिक्स आपके ऐसे के लिए भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा रेलिवेंट है वेयर डायरेक्टली देयर कैन बी क्वेश्चंस. नाउ विद द सेकंड लार्जेस्ट मार्केट इन द वर्ल्ड, अगर बात करें डेटा की, इंडिया में डेटा काफ़ी चीप रेट्स पे अवेलेबल हो जाते हैं. Fastest growing fintech landscape in the world, India is might sit at the massive digital transformation, right? And India's digital acceleration has also created a potential for new divides. For instances, अगर बात करें inequitable access to technology that has accelerated the part of divide. Work from home is now become a normal phenomenon, and even learning outcome for children during the pandemic is evidential of the fact that digital technology has helped a lot many people. State of Digital Economy reports की अगर बात करें, the report has highlighted that the missing analog foundations that support and drive the digital economy. This include the physical and social infrastructure for poor पावर सप्लाईज की अगर बात करें, इंटरनेट एक्सेस हैज अ बॉटलनेक. कई जगहों पे ये प्रॉब्लम बनी है, and even to a larger extent many people were not able to afford it also, right? So uses gap on in hand and given by the poor level of literacy, affordability and lack of digital skill is something that is also evidential, but to a larger extent India is doing well when it comes to the part of digital economy. डिजिटल लिटरेसी इनिशिएटिव्स की अगर बात करें, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इनिशिएटिव्स लिए थे, जहां पे इनिशियली 4G नेटवर्क की एक्सपेंशन की बात की गई है, जो कि अनकवर्ड विलेज को भी कवर करती है बाय 2024, राइट. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर स्कीम्स फॉर ग्राम पंचायत, और इवन अगर बात करें फाइबर ऑप्टिकल नेटवर्क्स भी एक्सटेंशंस की गई है. Digital initiatives has been strengthened in the various groups like skilling, upskilling, reskilling, and the part of training, entrepreneurship, and apprenticeship. The government is also working towards addressing the weakness of ecosystem through the part of the cybercrime, financial fraud by raising awareness through building the technical securities. Now, the recent launch of Sanchar Sarthi is one of such initiative. Now, roadmap की अगर बात करें, गवर्नमेंट की क्या roadmap है, how India is looking forward with the digital ecosystem. So see, policies और strategies अपने हिसाब से काम कर रही हैं, that is on a longer run. But कुछ ऐसे 4 principles हैं, there are 4 principles that is discussed in this editorial that will help you understand how we can achieve that. Among them, the first is that we need the digital solutions. Everything when building up a blog, it's not ready. So digital solution is something that would be a way easier, and even the software that is available for everything, what we are building, we need to be careful and we need to carefully examine that also. Our preoccupations with digital only must be changed, और हमें जहाँ पे ज़रूरत है वहाँ डिजिटल पेनिट्रेशन करनी चाहिए, जहाँ फिजिकल की ज़रूरत है वहाँ फिजिकल पेनिट्रेशन करनी चाहिए. So the part of the balance need to be maintained out so that both platform is working in the right directions. Second is a need for consultative policy makers that keep the beneficiaries at the center of the process. और गवर्नमेंट एफर्ट्स की अगर बात करें, दे हैव बीन इम्पैक्टिंग फॉर द टेक्नोलॉजी, पार्टिसिपेटरी की कोशिश की गई. If you see the UPI transition, that has also taken a toll in country. Effort should be made to strengthen the consultative process, making towards the grounded approach for the policy formulations. और third है, that is focus on adaptive policies, चाहे वो agile regulatory framework हो. Policy regulators ने बहुत हद तक जो evolving technology की challenges हैं business model में, उसको भी adopt किया. Emerging trend is regulatory on the sandboxing, participatory and co-regulations, and instrument grounded need to foster. Now, finally, the policies should be grounded on evidence that the data need to be checked in adequate manner, where the analysis and assessment should be done. And every basic data internet user smartphone is available to intimately through the government service, right? So the part of survey is helping out government and even to make policies as well. इस वजह से surveys की जाती है ताकि government को पता चल पाए किस sectors में कहाँ पे vacuum है and where they need to work out. The success of any transformative process rests with the transparency, regular monitoring, impact assessment, which must be institutionalized. So these are some of the way forward and even the part of suggestions that is given in this article. Moving with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is A. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको jute sector के बारे में बताना है. This is without the Jute Corporation of India is mandated to procure the part of jute rolls without the quantitative limit and the growers for the minimum support price. Second, at the present, 50% of the food grain and 20% of sugar are mandatory required for the jute bags. So check out for the correct options. Second is about the new umbrella entities, जितने भी retail entities हैं, basically that are owned and controlled by the Indian citizen, at least having 3-year experience are the part and promoters for NUEs. No foreign investment in allowed in the NUE existing guidelines. So do check out for the correct option. Practicing a lot more current affair, contemporary and static based question will help you to get an edge in the upcoming prelims examination. So this was all about for the part of daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any queries about admissions, test series or any courses, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.